Well, wonders never cease. We finally made it here.
You're on.
and I want to welcome those of us who are in the green room this morning. This morning we are going to be talking about Raspberry Pi. And I shortened everything just so that we could go live as quickly as possible. So normally what we do is we do some introductions, and so I will start at the beginning on the top of the list this morning. So David Flannery is here from Illinois. He creates affordable websites for small business. And we have, I think the next person is Paul Murray, who is in my neighborhood here in BC, and he helps startups turn ideas into profitable action. And then we have Vivek Grayo, who's in the UK, and he simplifies life and business by unifying different technologies and developing software. And I'm Lolan Fuglsang, and I'm in Victoria, British Columbia, and I coach retirees who want to create an online business. So good morning, everybody, and I do apologize for anybody who is watching, and probably nobody is, because all of my links are going to something that didn't work this morning because I goofed. So anyway, so here we are. First of all, I discovered that Raspberry Pi is not, I didn't spell it correctly. So, but I did play with that with all my intros, and it was, I think that Vivek, you're probably going to play on that as well. So, boy, are we ever late getting on here? 10 whole minutes I goofed up. I do apologize to those of you who are here. So, first of all, Vivek, how did you find out about this Raspberry Pi? Like,
It's Raspberry Pi. I found out because I mean, on the internet, obviously, and I'm looking for some small devices. So that's where I found out Raspberry Pi.
looking for small devices.
Yes, which I can program and make them do things. since I'm a programmer, I like to program things. So that's where I.
So, so when you went online, is that what you did your online search, like small devices for programming?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, interesting. And I remember David saying earlier that he, as an engineer, he would have just loved loved to play around with something like that as well. So these little devices seem to attract programmers and engineers for sure.
Hmm.
Who else would they attract?
Um, these days they attract quite a lot of people because the one I'm going to talk about is not an expensive one. If you want, here's the thing: if you want your kids, your children, to get into some logical way of thinking and do some coding, then Raspberry Pi is the way to go because um, it's very cheap to start with. You're not going to spend a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
at least initially. At least initially, that's the keyword.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get into Raspberry Pi and you see that there is a huge community there, which does which conducts educational programs for kids in
Ah,
schools and
ah, ah. Hmm. So
even
that
even yeah, go on.
so that's my walking friend said that she bought one of those for her granddaughter who would have,
Mm-hmm.
and that would have been a couple of years ago.
Mm,
So the granddaughter is now 12 or
mm,
13, so she would have been, let's say, 10.
mm.
And it was either a Christmas gift or a birthday gift.
Yeah,
And
it the price range is well within that range. So
uh, and
if they break it, they break it. It's not a big deal because you haven't
mhm,
lost thousands of dollars. No, it's just
mhm.
under $50.
Oh,
So
wow. So that's under $50. But there's a piece that I didn't know, or I hadn't heard up until now, is that there's an educational community, and that
mm,
some schools are using it.
yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more. Tell us more, Vivek.
Yeah, in fact,
Oh, there's um David waving.
Yeah, Andrew adds, he's in the chat and he says beginning coders slash developers, etc., are very attracted to him.
Mm.
mm.
Uh-huh.
So I had a book. Let me see if I can find it. I had a book which is actually part of the school curriculum.
Oh, really? Interesting. Wow. Hmm.
Where did it go?
Well, I suppose if I were a teacher trying to help um, expose children to this new world of technology, that would
Mm-hmm.
something that they could play with or build things with would make a lot of sense. I think that would
Yeah,
make a lot
yeah.
of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Wow. Did you find the book?
So no, I have so many other books here, so I think this is
Ah.
buried.
Hmm.
I did buy the book just to um, see what all things they talk about, and
Mm-hmm.
it's um, fairly standard school stuff. Primary, not primary, um, secondary. I think it says it's not a primary school thing. It
Mm-hmm.
can be even very young kids. In fact, if I look at the website, you will see their website, raspberrypi.org is the website.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at that website, you will see some pictures of kids doing funny things and enjoying
Having fun.
having fun
Yeah.
with the Raspberry Pi. So
That's so neat.
yeah, so to yeah, shall I start the
Oh,
little
yes.
presentation?
Please,
Yeah,
please go ahead.
I'll share my screen and yeah, Raspberry Pi. So the question typically is, what are the ingredients? Yeah, you see the raspberries there,
I see you spelled it correctly here.
and then and then something else comes out. See,
And what's that you have sticking out of the middle of the pie?
something which is not really edible at all. So it's a credit card sized single board computer. That's the fully, I mean, technical name for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so as you can see in this image, um, it has a new CPU there. They are saying more powerful processor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
then it can have up to 4 GB of RAM.
Wow.
That's the RAM chip,
Right?
and then it is powered using USB-C, which is the modern standard for powering small devices. It has two possibilities. You can connect two display monitors. You can connect them to two huge TVs if you want.
I,
Two different monitors. So such a small thing. In fact, they people have um, put this entire device behind the stuck it behind just the TV, and present it as if it's the whole computer. It is in effect. There are two USB ports,
mm-hmm.
and there is also a gigabit Ethernet connection. This is the wired connection. If you
Wow.
use that method of connecting,
Mm-hmm.
but it also connects through Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And these are the pins that are really useful. These are the pins that make this device as powerful as it is.
Mm-hmm.
um, these pins are called as general purpose input output. They can control relays, they can control thermostats, they can control electrical equipment, all that, based on the program that you put in. So,
So Vivek,
um,
do you mean to tell me that what you're seeing there is probably what's on the inside of the average Google Home?
probably, but Google Home uses its own, its own processor and so on,
Uh-huh.
different one. I mean, Google Home uses a different design,
Uh-huh.
slightly different.
Right.
This is meant for mainly for programming, and here there is a here this is a port where you can connect a camera,
Mm.
and this is a port for connecting other devices. So you can connect multiple different devices, and let me show you here. Oh, sorry. This is the one for camera. This
That
one,
one.
the
That one. Yeah.
and this is for connecting various other devices. So you can connect another display here.
Mm-hmm. I was going to
Uh,
say printer. Looks like a printer
yeah,
linkage. Yeah.
it's a you can connect a small display which is like, yeah, and you can effectively make this into that. There are, interestingly, there are projects where um, they are running a they are running Android operating system on this device, and using a touch screen device they are making it into a phone.
Wow.
Mobile phone.
Wow.
So that's very quick introduction of the hardware itself. Then uh, I mean, with all that power, it's that's the size,
Oh my
actual
goodness.
size.
Oh
You
my
see the
goodness.
hand there, so
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
fits within your hand.
Oh my goodness. That just blows your mind, doesn't it? Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
and when you think of what it can do,
Uh-huh.
um, that is really something. Um, yeah, why Raspberry Pi? It can be used where a computer is not feasible. You don't want a computer, but you want things that do use computing capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a security camera like this one here,
Mm-hmm.
and this can be made to recognize the faces, and it can even be made to so that with a lot more, of course, connecting multiple devices, you can even make it so that you come to the front door, the camera recognizes your face, unlocks the door for you.
Uh-huh.
All that is done by
Programming.
this one.
Yeah, in programming. Wow.
It can be used in wildlife photography. You can put, since this device is so small and so on, you can put a camera and make it motion sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
It can take pictures when a bird or a squirrel or some
Mm-hmm.
animal
Mm-hmm.
comes in the vicinity. Not necessarily, I mean, not necessarily just the birds and so on. You can use it in probably in the jungle.
Yeah.
Let's say you're
Yeah.
trying to monitor tigers or whatever.
Yeah.
You can have this device there, and the animal won't know what's going
Mm-hmm.
on,
Right.
obviously, and this device will be able to take the wildlife photography. You can use it for air quality monitoring. There are weather stations which use this device. You can create bots, bots for Twitter, bots for Twitch, which will send out messages based on your programming and whatever. So it sends out messages and pretends to be
You.
intelligent.
Yeah.
So
Those dreaded bots that we're all fighting trying to avoid. Yeah.
so yeah, all that is possible. You can do home automation. I mean, one of them I gave you already example.
Yeah.
The security camera can recognize your face and unlock
Mm-hmm.
the door for you.
Mm-hmm.
The other things like automating, I mean, turning on and off of heaters and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
There are projects where um, you can send out a message to this device from your office saying that you're heading for home, and then when you head home, when you reach home, your coffee machine will be already
Yeah.
would have started and coffee will be ready for you
Mm-hmm.
as you enter the front door. So things like that, automation,
Mm-hmm.
you can do all of that. um
With that little tiny thing. When
yeah.
I think of the mainframes that that we used to deal with years ago, oh, this is mind-boggling. Hmm.
There are this is a small device for programming for hobbies. It's robotics. There are projects which you can, in fact, the one of the projects that they show in the kids section is the kids are designing the robot. So this robot moves and does things and follows a line. uh, it stops when it sees a picture and turns in a particular way, all that. And it's encased in a not just child friendly, I would say, a casing which looks more like a toy,
Mm-hmm.
like a little beetle or something.
Right,
What
right.
and it rolls, and yeah, it, so all that is and it has gone, this is the what we now have is the fourth version of the same device. There are Raspberry Pis model 1, 2, 3, and now we have what I have here. This is a fourth
Mm.
version of that. This is really powerful, um, but it does have a few limitations. By default, the OS that comes with it is a 32-bit OS, and this particular Raspberry Pi 4, this gets really hot, so it does need a
Ah.
fan.
Uh-huh.
So
So, I'm just to make sure that anybody who's watching this and who's not sort of a techie, OS means operating system, does it not?
yes, there also is a project where someone has installed Windows 10 onto this, and
Whoa. But isn't most of our computers now in Windows 10, aren't they 64-bit?
yes,
Yeah.
um, you can install 64-bit operating system on this, but what it comes with is
Uh-huh.
32-bit.
Mm-hmm.
um, so let me talk about some of the this is a I have this book. That book, it's the same book that
Oh yeah.
is shown on
Okay.
the,
Yeah.
and it's a introductory video. If I click that one, it plays a introductory YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Wow.
putting the links in the chat, and those links, I think you can put them in the description later on,
Yes.
Loveland.
Yes, I will.
So yeah, this book does explain in detail, in pictures and
Yeah.
so on. So I'm just picking random picture pages here.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Uh-huh.
it shows you where to I mean, this one is showing you how to wire these things, different pins and all that. So these are the two wheels, like it's shown in that
Yeah.
YouTube video there.
Uh-huh.
So then there is someone asked a question to this person: is it a desktop replacement? The answer is it can be. It depends on what you want to do. If you don't, if you just want to watch some videos, obviously this can show you videos. You can plug two monitors or two TVs. So
Wow.
so it can. But if you want to do something, some serious development work, or create some documents and so on, it's a bit difficult. It's not impossible. It's a bit, compared to your modern desktop, which has um, 16 gigs of RAM and all that hard disk space and all that. Compared to that, this will be, because it is so small, but it still can do that. So yeah, that's a brief introduction to Raspberry Pi.
Boy, if anybody is looking for a new hobby, that looks like it would be an all-consuming one.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that is, to me, it's absolutely fascinating. And to think that a 10-year-old kid can sit down and figure out how to do all of this. I mean, that's just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity.
Yeah,
So,
there are kits available. Let me show you one. There are kits like this
oh my.
available. So this has it comes in a box. It has practically everything that you need,
Oh my.
including the Raspberry Pi.
Mm-hmm.
So instructions, and this is a board where you plug in all various things,
Wow.
as
Wow.
shown here in the
Oh
picture.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So
And so, big question. Do you think all that one of those is available in Amazon?
yes, it
And
is. I got.
do you have an affiliate
No, I
code?
don't have an affiliate link. I don't have an affiliate link. No. If anyone has affiliate account and so on, go ahead.
Okay, David, away you go. Oh, so thank you for exposing us to all of this. I had no idea. I mean, I know that in schools that they're working with various kinds of technology, but my goodness, a credit card size gizmo. Wow.
Yeah.
So, among our other panelists here, any questions about this? Any comments?
Yeah, there's a big danger with these things. I gave one to my nephew, and getting it out of the hands of his father is a huge challenge.
Okay. Yes. Like the all-consuming hobby.
Maybe should have given two.
Oh my goodness. Oh dear. Well, thank
Oh,
you, David.
yeah, they remind me of the radios that they had us put together when we were in school, way back when.
Uh-huh.
And
Hmm.
then um,
In
came the
fact, in
time
fact,
to
there
do
is
the
a
I.
in fact there is a project which says you can start your own pirate radio station using Raspberry Pi. Yeah, go on.
But um, then I went to building my own computer with that from
Hmm.
that point.
Uh-huh.
So now, like I said, I've been avoiding them because I'm afraid I'll get addicted. And like Paul said, you give it to my son, I'd be playing with it all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, as much as I love experimenting and doing things, I mean, just because I own a car doesn't mean I need to know how to manage everything under the hood.
Mm.
So this is for people who want to learn the technology and to be able to create uh, hardware and
Yeah,
so forth. Yeah.
you can also, I mean, the thing is that there are projects where this device is used for greenhouse, controlling the greenhouse. They
Mm,
have
mm,
little greenhouses in their farm or back backyard of their house or
mm-hmm,
whatever. um, and this can control the watering of the plants, um, taking care of the heating, all that. So this device can, that there are projects which do that.
mm. Wow. Well, I mean, some of these cameras that are watching eagle nests, or Paul,
Hmm.
I was looking for that site that used to be up on top of the museum, showing the Inner Harbor. I couldn't find it. I looked and looked and looked, but I mean
Still there.
that would be the similar thing, wouldn't it? So just a little gizmo like that could easily sort of manage something like that, cameras
Hmm.
and so forth. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting.
I have a friend who's very much into experimenting with indoor gardens and
Mm-hmm.
different UV values of lights and gardening and watering,
Mm-hmm.
and uses this all the time as a way to program what they're doing.
My goodness. Yeah. Oh.
And while researching, I also found out that they sent one, no, not one, they sent Raspberry Pi, I don't know how many, to the space station, the International Space Station. They have
Mm-hmm.
sent it to that. I don't know. They have been probably doing some experiments there or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness.
So
We we are in a new world, a whole new world. There is no question. So I'm looking at the time, and unless there are other comments, I think maybe I will bring us to an end right now, um, with a reminder that it's important to do what you love with passion. And we shall see you next week, where we're going to be talking about the word camp. So, thank you very much, Vivek. I found that just incredibly interesting. So, thanks, and bye for now.